Kansas boomed the Sooners' perfect season. I don't think too many people saw this one coming. There were a good amount of people that felt like Oklahoma going on the road to play Kansas could result in this being a close game, but with no Jalen Daniels, I didn't think the Jayhawks had a chance in hell of being able to pull this off. But Oklahoma pretty much gifted this win to Kansas. They had several costly turnovers. Dylan Gabriel had a pick six early in this game. You had two costly fumbles, and Kansas was able to capitalize off Oklahoma's mistakes. The key to pulling off upsets in college football are pretty simple: winning the turnover battle and being able to convert those turnovers into points. And that's what Kansas was able to do in this ball game. For Brent Venables, him being a defensive-minded coach, the way his defense has played the last 2 weeks, not just in their loss to Kansas, but also in their close win against UCF, his defense has not played at the same level that it was prior to them beating Texas in the Red River rivalry. Kansas didn't look like the better team at any point in this game than Oklahoma. The only way Kansas was really able to move the ball in this game was due to how good their running game was. And they got two outstanding running backs. Jason Bean had a big touchdown run, but throwing the football, he wasn't that great. He had some costly interceptions, and Kansas gave Oklahoma just as many chances to win this game as Oklahoma gave the Jayhawks. It's just that Kansas was able to capitalize late in the game when it mattered the most, and Oklahoma wasn't able to use that escape door ability that I say every good team in college football has. Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, anytime you think you have them beat, they just find ways to pull out close wins. Oklahoma doesn't have that same kind of ability. If they get into a close game, unless the other team just completely collapses on themselves, Oklahoma, more times than not, I don't think they're a good one-possession team. Oklahoma fans aren't happy with Jeff Lebby. They feel his offense is a little overrated. Dylan Gabriel at times in big moments of games, he can come through, but he also may cost you here or there. I think that for Oklahoma moving forward, they're still a pretty good football team, but I never felt they had a great chance to make it to the college football playoffs. This is a big win for Kansas. They lost 18 straight to Oklahoma prior to this win. I mean, the last time they beat Oklahoma, my grandma was a senior in high school. That's how long it was. Kansas just was able to capitalize off Oklahoma's mistakes. Oklahoma had plenty of opportunities to put this game on ice. Against Texas, Oklahoma played the best game of the year. That was like their Super Bowl, it looks like, because ever since then, they haven't had that same level of dominance. When you look at how Oklahoma has played over the last couple of weeks since their win against Texas compared to before they played Texas, the games weren't really that close. Some of those games took a while for them to kind of pull away in, such as SMU. But, I mean, they terrorized Arkansas State. The games weren't really close until they played Texas and got the win against them. So maybe that Texas win kind of altered their mindset and their mentality. And maybe this was the loss that they needed to kind of have them going back to the drawing board and kind of have them overthinking or rethinking some things. Oklahoma still has a chance if they went out to be in a college football playoff mix. But if they lose another game, which there's a strong possibility that they do, they play Oklahoma State in a couple of days. I think there's a very high chance they lose that game, and maybe they come out and they blow out Oklahoma State. But this just hasn't looked like the same team that we saw before they beat Texas. It seems like them beating Texas kind of was a curse because they haven't been the same football team ever since. Kansas, they're a 2-loss football team, and before the season, I picked Kansas to be in the Big 12 championship game. I didn't think that Oklahoma was going to be a better team than Kansas this year. One thing about Kansas is that they have a lot of experience. Even their backup quarterback, Jason Bean, he started in a couple of games. I see why they didn't want to allow him to transfer elsewhere. When he came back to Kansas, a lot of people were shocked. because he's good enough to be a starter on majority of Power 5 teams out there. Jalen Daniels, he has a extensive injury history. So I see why Lance Leopold and that coaching staff wanted to have him back. Jason Bean, he's not a bad quarterback. He's a quality starter. In this game, though, I didn't really think he played all that well, but he did make some big plays and the big moments to keep this game close for Kansas to have the opportunity to go steal it. This has to be really disappointing if you're an Oklahoma fan. You got out to one of the best starts that you've had in recent memory, and you thought that maybe this was the year that you possibly could be in the mix to win it all. But this program, I just don't think that they've been playing great football the last couple of weeks, and they definitely needed this loss to give them a little bit of a reality check. And we'll see how Oklahoma responds following this loss. Are they going to completely fall off the rails, or are they going to be able to shake back against Oklahoma State? Kansas, I think this win pretty much shows that this is a team that should be in contention for a New Year's Six bowl game. Their defense can be inconsistent at times, but this offense is good enough to put up a lot of points on you. This defense is not great, but they can get a couple of big stops and a couple of big takeaways here or there, and that's what Kansas did in this matchup, and that's why they won.